Okay, let's have an honest conversation. You've been choking down cottage cheese because someone told you it's the perfect protein for aging muscles, right? Those lumpy curds that taste like, well, let's just say they're an acquired taste. 25 g of protein per cup, they said. Eat it every day, they said. But here's what nobody's telling you. While you're forcing yourself to eat something that looks like it's already been chewed, you're missing out on foods that not only taste better, but actually work faster and more effectively at stopping muscle loss. I'm about to share something that might make you a little angry. There are foods out there with 40, 50, even 60 g of protein per serving that actually taste good. Foods that don't just provide protein, but contain special compounds that make cottage cheese look like amateur hour when it comes to fighting sarcopenia. And the kicker, some of them cost less than that tub of cottage cheese sitting in your fridge right now. Look, I get it. Cottage cheese has been the go-to recommendation for decades. Your doctor probably suggested it. Maybe your nutritionist swears by it, but science has moved on. And what we know now about muscle preservation after 50 makes the cottage cheese recommendation seem almost quaint. Welcome to Naturel Defense E, where we tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And today we need to talk about why cottage cheese is failing you in your fight against muscle loss. Don't get me wrong, cottage cheese isn't terrible. It's just mediocre. And when you're over 50 and losing up to 1% of your muscle mass every single year, mediocre isn't going to cut it. You need extraordinary. You need foods that don't just maintain muscle, but actually rebuild it. Here's the thing about cottage cheese that drives me crazy. Yes, it has 25 grams of protein per cup. But you know what? It's mostly casein protein, which is great for overnight recovery, sure. But during the day, when you need quick-acting proteins to stop muscle breakdown after activity, cottage cheese sits in your stomach like a lump, slowly releasing amino acids when what you really need is a rapid response team. And let's talk about what cottage cheese doesn't have. It's pretty much devoid of creatine, the compound that actually helps your muscles generate power. No significant omega-3s to reduce inflammation. Minimal B12 compared to what aging bodies need. No carnosine to buffer acid in your muscles. It's basically protein and some calcium swimming in a watery mess. The texture issue isn't just about preference, it's about compliance. I've talked to hundreds of people over 50, and you know what they tell me? They buy cottage cheese with good intentions. It sits in their fridge. They force themselves to eat it a few times. Then it goes bad. Because let's be honest, unless you're one of those rare people who actually enjoys it, cottage cheese feels like punishment. But here's what really gets me. The sodium content in most cottage cheese is through the roof, often 800 mg per cup. Now, some sodium is good for muscle function, absolutely, but this much, it's causing water retention, potentially raising blood pressure, and making you feel bloated. Not exactly the recipe for feeling strong and energetic. Let me introduce you to something that's going to change your whole perspective on convenient protein, canned mackerel. Now wait before you make that face. Hear me out. This isn't your grandmother's fishy-smelling kitchen. Modern canned mackerel is a completely different game, and it's about to become your secret weapon. 1 can of mackerel, we're talking about 4 ounces here, contains 42 g of protein. 42. That's almost double what cottage cheese provides, and it's the highest quality, complete protein your muscles can get. Every essential amino acid, perfectly balanced, ready to rebuild muscle tissue. And unlike cottage cheese's slow casein, mackerel protein includes fast-acting proteins that get to work immediately. But here's where mackerel gets interesting. It's absolutely loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, about 4,000 mgs per can. Now, why should you care? Because research from the University of Aberdeen found that omega-3s don't just reduce inflammation, they actually make your muscles more sensitive to protein. It's like they turn up the volume on muscle building. People over 60 who got adequate omega-3s built twice as much muscle from the same amount of protein. The vitamin D content is something cottage cheese can't even touch. One can of mackerel provides over 100% of your daily vitamin D needs. And this isn't the D2 they add to milk. This is D3, the same type your body makes from sunlight. You know what vitamin D deficiency causes? Muscle weakness, poor balance, and increased fall risk. It's epidemic in people over 50, and cottage cheese does nothing to address it. Here's something that blew my mind when I discovered it. Mackerel is one of the richest sources of CoQ10 in the food supply. CoQ10 is what your mitochondria, the power plants in your muscle cells, need to produce energy. Levels drop dramatically with age, which is why you feel weaker and tire more easily. One can of mackerel provides more CoQ10 than most 100 supplements. The B12 content is off the charts, over 400% of your daily needs. B12 isn't just about energy. It's essential for nerve function. And guess what? Your muscles need to work properly functioning nerves. That weakness you're feeling might not be muscle loss at all. It might be B12 deficiency affecting your neuromuscular connections. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the taste. Modern canned mackerel comes in all sorts of flavors. Olive oil, tomato sauce, hot, peppers, lemon. The days of plain fishy mackerel are over. And here's a pro tip, mash it with avocado. Add some hot sauce. Spread it on whole grain crackers. It's delicious. And you've just created a meal with more muscle building power than anything cottage cheese could dream of. Price, usually $2 to $3 per can. That's less than a cup of cottage cheese for almost double the protein and infinitely more muscle-up supporting nutrients. This next one's going to surprise you. Edamame, those little green soybeans you've probably seen at Japanese restaurants. 1 cup of shelled edamame contains, get ready for this, 37 g of complete protein. That's right, a plant food with more protein than cottage cheese. And it's complete protein with all essential amino acids. But edamame isn't just about quantity. It contains something cottage cheese completely lacks: isoflavones. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't those the compounds everyone warns men about? Let me clear this up once and for all. The isoflavones in whole soy foods like edamame have been shown in multiple studies to preserve muscle mass in aging adults. They work by reducing inflammation and supporting hormone balance, not feminizing anyone, but actually helping maintain the hormonal environment needed for muscle preservation. The fiber content is where edamame really embarrasses cottage cheese, 8 g per cup. This fiber doesn't just help with digestion. It feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut that produce short-chain fatty acids. These fatty acids, particularly butyrate, have been shown to preserve muscle mass through mechanisms we're just beginning to understand. Cottage cheese, 0 fiber, 0 benefit to your gut-muscle axis. Here's what's really cool about edamame. It contains high levels of folate, about 100% of your daily needs per cup. Folate isn't just for pregnant women. It's essential for creating new cells, including muscle cells. It helps your body use protein effectively. Many people over 50 are deficient in folate, which literally prevents their muscles from rebuilding properly. The magnesium content is exceptional, about 25% of your daily needs. You know what happens when you're deficient in magnesium? Muscle cramps, weakness, poor recovery. Your muscles literally can't contract properly without adequate magnesium. Cottage cheese provides maybe 5% of your daily magnesium needs. It's not even in the same league. And let's talk about convenience. You can buy frozen shelled edamame and have it ready in 5 minutes. Microwave season with sea salt or everything bagel seasoning. Done. It's actually faster than opening and eating cottage cheese. Or get the dry roasted kind for a crunchy snack that travels anywhere. Try traveling with cottage cheese. Not happening. The isoflavones in edamame also support bone health. Strong bones and strong muscles go hand in hand. When your bones are weak, you can't challenge your muscles safely. Edamame supports both, while cottage cheese only provides calcium without the supporting compounds that ensure it goes where it's needed. Now, I want to talk about a protein source that most people never consider, but should be at the top of everyone's list for fighting sarcopenia. Venison. Deer meat. And before you say I'm not a hunter, just know that farm-raised venison is available in many grocery stores now. and it's about to blow your mind. 3 ounces of venison contains 31 g of protein with only 3 g of fat. That's more protein than a cup of cottage cheese in a serving half the size. But it's not just lean protein. It's the most bioavailable protein you can consume with your body able to use 97% of it for muscle building. Venison contains something cottage cheese doesn't even have trace amounts of He iron, about 4 mmgs per serving, which is huge. And this isn't the constipating iron from supplements or the poorly absorbed iron from plants. This is the iron your muscles actually need to carry oxygen. You know that feeling when you get winded easily, when your muscles feel weak and tired? That's often iron deficiency, and it's incredibly common in people over 50. But here's what makes venison special for fighting sarcopenia. It's naturally high in carnosine. Carnosine is a compound that accumulates in muscle tissue and acts as a buffer against acid buildup. When your muscles burn during activity, that's acid buildup. Carnosine helps prevent that, allowing you to stay active longer. Cottage cheese, 0 carnosine. The zinc content in venison is remarkable, about 30% of your daily needs per serving. Zinc is essential for protein synthesis, immune function, and testosterone production in both men and women. Yes, women need testosterone too for muscle maintenance. Low zinc equals poor muscle function. Period. Here's something fascinating. Venison is one of the few land animals that provides meaningful amounts of omega-3 fatty acids. Not as much as fish, but significant. This is because deer eat plants, not grain like factory farmed animals. So, you're getting anti-inflammatory fats along with your protein, something cottage cheese can't claim. The B vitamin profile is exceptional. High levels of B12, B6, niacin, and riboflavin. These aren't just nice to haves. They're essential for converting protein into muscle tissue. Without adequate B vitamins, you could eat all the protein in the world and still lose muscle. Venison is also incredibly rich in phosphorus, providing about 25% of your daily needs. Phosphorus works with calcium for muscle contractions, but it's also part of ATP, the energy molecule your muscles use. Without phosphorus, your muscles literally can't generate power. Stay with me on this one because I'm about to introduce you to possibly the most underrated protein source on the planet, octopus. I know it sounds exotic, but hear me out because this is going to revolutionize how you think about protein. 4 O's of cooked octopus contains 35 g of complete protein with less than 2 g of fat. It's almost pure protein, but unlike protein powders that are also pure protein, octopus comes with a treasure trove of muscle-building compounds that cottage cheese could never provide. The taurine content in octopus is extraordinary. Taurine isn't just in energy drinks for fun. It's crucial for muscle function, especially in aging bodies. It improves muscle contractility, reduces oxidative stress, and helps maintain muscle mass. Japanese studies have shown that adequate taurine intake can reduce age-related muscle loss by up to 40%. Cottage cheese, virtually no taurine. Here's what's mind-blowing. Octopus contains more potassium per serving than 3 bananas, about 900 mg. Potassium isn't just about preventing cramps. It's essential for muscle contractions and nerve signaling. Most people over 50 don't get enough potassium, which directly contributes to muscle weakness. The iron content is incredible, about 10 mg per serving, which is more than half your daily needs. But it's not just the amount, it's that this iron comes packaged with copper and B12, which help your body actually use the iron. It's a complete system for oxygen delivery to muscles. Octopus is also one of the richest sources of selenium, about 140% of your daily needs. Selenium is crucial for thyroid function, and your thyroid regulates muscle metabolism. Many people with age-related muscle loss actually have subclinical thyroid issues that selenium can help address the texture thing. Let's address it. Properly cooked octopus is tender, not rubbery. The key is either cooking it very quickly at high heat or slow and low. And the flavor, mild, slightly sweet. Takes on whatever seasonings you use, slice it thin, add olive oil and lemon, and you've got something that makes cottage cheese look like prison of food. You can buy frozen octopus that's already cleaned and often pre-cooked. It's actually more convenient than cottage cheese because it doesn't go bad in 5 days. Keep it in your freezer Thaw what you need, and you've got instant access to one of the most powerful muscle building proteins available. Okay? This one's going to separate the serious muscle builders from the dabblers. Turkey gizzards. Yes, the organ meat that most people throw away. But if you're serious about fighting sarcopenia and you want results fast, you need to know about this. 1 cup of cooked turkey gizzards contains 44 g of protein. 44. That's almost double what cottage cheese provides, and it's incredibly bioavailable protein that your body can use immediately. But protein is just the beginning of what makes gizzards special. Gizzards are one of the richest sources of iron you can eat, about 6 milligrams per serving. They also contain high levels of vitamin C, which enhances iron absorption. It's like nature designed them to combat the anemia that contributes to muscle weakness in so many older adults. The collagen content is substantial, but unlike the collagen in bone broth that people obsess over, this comes with actual muscle building protein. So you're getting joint support and muscle building in one food. Cottage cheese provides neither effectively. Gizzards are incredibly rich in glucosamine and chondrodin, the same compounds people pay $50 a bottle for in supplement form. These compounds don't just support joint health. They help maintain the connective tissue in and around muscles, keeping everything functioning properly as you age. The B vitamin content, particularly B12 and folate, is exceptional. We're talking about nutrients that directly impact your body's ability to build and maintain muscle tissue. Without adequate B vitamins, protein synthesis simply doesn't happen efficiently. Now, I'll be honest about texture. Gizzards are chewy, but you know what that chewiness means. You actually have to work to eat them, which increases satiety. And when you slow cook them or pressure cook them with herbs and spices, they become tender and flavorful. Way more interesting than bland cottage cheese. Let me tell you about something that's been right under our noses this whole time. Hemp protein concentrate. Not the powder, but the concentrated form that's becoming available. 70 g of protein per 100 g. That's more concentrated than any animal protein. And it's complete protein with all essential amino acids. 3 tablespoons of hemp protein concentrate provides 30 grams of protein. But here's what makes it special. It contains all 20 amino acids, not just the essential 9. This includes high levels of arginine, which produces nitric oxide for better blood flow to muscles, and glutamine, which prevents muscle breakdown during stress. The omega fatty acid profile is perfect, a 3:1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. This is the ratio human bodies evolved with, and it naturally reduces inflammation while supporting muscle recovery. Cottage cheese has no omega-3s and contributes to inflammatory imbalance. Hemp protein contains something called adistan, a globular protein that's incredibly easy to digest and is structurally similar to the proteins in human blood. Your body recognizes it immediately and can use it more efficiently than the casein and cottage cheese. The magnesium content is exceptional, about 45% of your daily needs per serving. But it also contains significant amounts of iron, zinc, and phosphorus. It's like a multivitamin and protein shake rolled into one, except it's actual food, not synthetic supplements. Here's what's really cool. Hemp protein concentrate doesn't cause any of the digestive issues associated with dairy proteins like cottage cheese. No bloating, no gas, no lactose intolerance issues. It actually supports digestive health with its fiber content. You can add it to smoothies, sure, but you can also mix it into oatmeal, yogurt, or even savory dishes like soups and sauces. It has a nutty, earthy flavor that actually tastes good, unlike the bland, sometimes sour taste of cottage cheese. The last food I want to tell you about is making a huge comeback, and for good reason. Bison meat. This isn't some trendy superfood. This is what built strong bodies for thousands of years before we started eating processed garbage. 4 O's of bison provides 35 g of protein with only 3 g of fat. It's leaner than chicken breast, but more flavorful than any cottage cheese could dream of being. And the protein quality is exceptional. All essential amino acids in perfect proportions for human muscle synthesis. Bison is incredibly rich in conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, a type of fat that's been shown to preserve lean muscle mass while reducing body fat. Studies show that CLA supplementation can help older adults maintain muscle during weight loss. But you're getting it naturally from bison along with all the other nutrients. The iron content is substantial, about 4 mg per serving of highly bioavailable heme iron. But bison also contains high levels of selenium, zinc, and B vitamins. It's basically everything your muscles need in one package. Bison is naturally high in creatine, the compound that helps muscles generate explosive power. As we age, muscle creatine levels drop, contributing to weakness and poor performance. Bison helps restore these levels naturally, the environmental bonus. Bison are raised on pasture, not in feedlots. They eat grass, not grain and antibiotics. So you're getting cleaner protein that's better for your body and better for the planet than factory-farmed cottage cheese from confined cows. Bison cooks just like beef, but faster because it's leaner. Don't overcook it. Medium, rare to medium is perfect. The flavor is slightly sweet, rich, and satisfying in a way that watery cottage cheese could never be. Now, let me explain why these foods work faster than cottage cheese at fighting sarcopenia. It's not just about protein quantity. It's about the speed and completeness of the muscle-building response. When you eat cottage cheese, you get a slow trickle of casein protein. That's fine for overnight recovery, but during the day after activity, your muscles need rapid amino acid delivery. Foods like mackerel, octopus, and venison provide fast-acting proteins that immediately signal muscle protein synthesis. These foods also provide what I call muscle-building co-actors. Omega-3 has iron, B12, zinc, creatine, carnosine. These compounds don't just support muscle growth. They optimize the entire environment for muscle building. Cottage cheese is essentially naked protein without the supporting cast. The leucine content in these foods is also higher per serving than cottage cheese. Leucine is the trigger for muscle protein synthesis, and you need about 3 g per meal after 50. Our foods easily provide this, while cottage cheese falls short unless you eat massive amounts. The anti-inflammatory compounds in foods like mackerel and hemp protein actually reduce the muscle breakdown that's constantly happening in aging bodies. Cottage cheese does nothing to address inflammation. In fact, dairy can be inflammatory for many people. Here's how to use these foods strategically for the fastest possible results in fighting sarcopenia. Morning. Start with hemp protein. Concentrate in your breakfast. Mix it into oatmeal or a smoothie. 30 grams of complete protein plus omega-3s and minerals to start your day. Post-activity. This is crucial. After any physical activity, even light gardening or walking, have fast-acting protein, canned mackerel on crackers, leftover bison, or pre-cooked octopus salad. Lunch, focus on convenience. Iditimi is perfect here. Frozen bags you can heat in minutes, or turkey gizzards you've pre-cooked on Sunday. Dinner. This is when you bring out the big guns. Venison steak, grilled octopus, or bison burgers. Substantial protein that provides overnight recovery nutrients. The key is consistency and variety. Rotate through these foods weekly. You'll never get bored like you do with cottage cheese, and your muscles get a full spectrum of building blocks. I know what some of you are thinking. These foods sound weird. I don't know how to cook them. What will people think? Listen, you can keep eating your boring cottage cheese, watching your muscles disappear, and wondering why you're getting weaker. Or you can step outside your comfort zone for the sake of your independence and quality of life. Every food I've mentioned is available in regular grocery stores or online. They're not exotic anymore. They're just underutilized because people don't know about them. As for cooking, most of these foods are actually easier than cottage cheese. Open can heat, eat, or buy pre-cooked or use a slow cooker. There's no excuse. And what people think, the same people eating cottage cheese and still losing muscle. Who cares what they think? You'll be too busy being strong to worry about their opinions. Let's talk money because I know that matters. Cottage cheese runs about $4 for a 16 container, providing about 50 g of protein. That's 8 cents per gram of protein. Canned mackerel, $3 for 42 grams of protein, 7 cents per gram plus omega-3s, vitamin D, and B12. Turkey gizzards, $2 per pound, providing about 80 g of protein when cooked, 2.5 cents per gram. Edamame, $4 per bag, providing about 75 g of protein, 5 cents per gram. You're actually saving money while getting superior nutrition. The cottage cheese industry has convinced you that their processed dairy water is premium nutrition. It's not. It's overpriced mediocrity. Here's what I want you to do right now. Not tomorrow, not Monday, right now. First, stop buying cottage cheese out of habit. If you genuinely love it, fine. Keep it as a small part of your diet, but stop pretending it's your muscle salvation. Second, choose 3 foods from today's list that you're willing to try. Just 3. Buy them this week. Third, commit to eating one of these foods every day for the next month. Track how you feel. Take photos. Measure your strength with simple tests like chair stands. Fourth, join our community. Share your results. Learn recipes. Support others who are breaking free from the cottage cheese trap. Fifth, spread the word. Sarcopenia affects millions, and most are wasting time with inferior proteins while these solutions exist. I'm going to leave you with something that might sting a little, but you need to hear it. Every day you stick with cottage cheese because it's familiar, because it's what you've always done, because change is hard. You're choosing muscle loss. You're choosing weakness. You're choosing a future where you need help with basic tasks. These 7 foods aren't just alternatives to cottage cheese. They're your weapons against frailty, dependence, and decline. They're your path to staying strong, capable, and independent for decades to come. The science is clear. The evidence is overwhelming. The only question is whether you're ready to act on it. Look, I get that cottage cheese has been the safe, socially acceptable choice for protein. Your doctor recommended it. The fitness magazines promote it. Your neighbor swears by it. But you know what? Your muscles don't care about social acceptance. They care about leucine, omega-3s iron, B12 creatine, and complete amino acids in amounts that actually make a difference. They care about foods that trigger growth, not just maintenance. These 7 foods, mackerel, edamame, venison, octopus, turkey gizzards, hemp protein, and bison. They're not weird alternatives. They're what humans ate to build strong bodies for millennia before we invented processed cheese curds. Every meal is a choice. You can choose familiar mediocrity with cottage cheese, or you can choose powerful nutrition that actually rebuilds muscle. You can choose to manage decline, or you can choose to reverse it. Your muscles are waiting. They're ready to grow stronger even at 60, 70, or 80. But they need the right fuel, not cottage cheese with its limited nutrition, but these powerhouse foods that provide everything needed for muscle synthesis and recovery. The path forward is clear. The foods are available. The science supports it. The only thing standing between you and stronger muscles is your willingness to move beyond cottage cheese and embrace what really works. Thank you for joining me today on Senior Nutrition. If this opened your eyes to what's possible beyond cottage cheese, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more truth about nutrition and aging. Remember, sarcopenia isn't your destiny. With the right foods, not cottage cheese, but the foods we discussed today, you can build muscle at any age. Your stronger future starts with your next meal. Make it count. Stop settling for cottage cheese. Start building real muscle. Your future self will thank